Hey good people, and welcome to another episode of Chronicles La Familia. I trust that our episodes have been blessing you, have been impacting you, because that is what we are all about. So today on our set we have one Kemita Sam. Hiyo ni jina ya kisanii, and his ID name ni Samuel Maina. Karibu Samuel Maina.
Thank you so much.
It is good to have you in this on set.
Asante.
Yeah. We hope to have a very impactful conversation.
Oh yes.
What tell us your full names again, and then what you do for a living and more about you, tukujue kidogo.
Okay. As you have heard, my name is Samuel Maina. So those are the names on my ID. And then there is this other name ya usanii. I normally call it ya usanii. And that is what many people are coming to know me by that name.
Yes.
Kemita Sam. And then I know Kemita, it will be on the screen. I know they will see the spelling because
yes. It's a unique one. It's not written as pronounced.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
All right.
Yes.
So what do you do for a living, Kemita?
I'm an engineer, civil engineer by profession.
Yes.
And I can also say stroke contractor.
Okay.
So I deal with construction works, road construction, building construction. Yes, everything about construction.
All right.
Yeah.
And you are also a gospel minister on the side.
Oh yes.
Tell us about that.
I also discovered that I can sing.
When did you discover you can sing? Engineers can sing,
yes,
by the way.
Actually, everybody should hear this, that every engineer who is listening and watching should know that engineers too can sing. Yes.
Because no, when we picture engineers, wanakaanga watu serious, that cannot be artistic at all.
No, you cannot be that work. Engineering is some kind of stressing, and inakuwa na pressure zake, and you need to be jovial. You need something to psych you up as you carry out your
duties.
Yes.
So it's not all serious business.
No.
All right. Okay.
Yes.
So tell us about Samuel growing up.
And if I can go back a little bit about the music. And I think that will also touch on growing up.
Yes.
Growing up, even before I went to school.
Yes.
There's a very interesting story that my mother tells me. And she tells me that when I was very young, I think probably 2 years or there, about 2, 3, whenever somebody could, whistle while doing their businesses at home,
yes,
I could cry and ask for that whistle too, so that I can blow as well.
Oh.
So I think to me,
music is in the blood.
Yeah, so I think that is when I started singing.
Okay. So you loved when people are whistling, you want to whistle like that?
I want to whistle like them, but at 2 years or 3 years,
you cannot.
I cannot.
Okay.
So I could just cry and give me so that I can.
Wow, so this is an inborn gift. Powerful.
Yes, I thank God.
Awesome. So where did you grow up?
I grew up in Murang'a. And that is in Murang'a County.
Wapi?
Uko mahali kunaitwa Maragwa.
Yes. Wow, okay.
Somewhere up in the village there, uko Kaharo, Ginda location, those ones. Those days.
Ginda?
Yes. Yes, it's around that place.
All right.
Yeah.
Ukasomea wapi shule?
Nikasomea Kaharo Primary School. And then nikajoin Njiri School.
Oh, ulikuwa chopi.
Nilikuwa chopi.
No wonder you are an engineer anyway.
I think after kutoka shule labda ndio nilianza kulala nikaacha kuwa chopisa.
Kwa nini nawe ni engineer hata sai? Oh, if you see someone, mtu hawezi change Kenya ilikuwa ndani yake. Hiyo werevu tu iko.
Very true. So I think so in primary school I used to act some dramas. and
You're a
reciting
motive
poems.
gifted person.
Yes,
Okay.
I still do write poems.
All right.
Like if I know when your birthday is, I can
Craft.
give you a nice poem and yes. So
You are very interesting.
So I used to recite poems and all that. Then in high school, I used to actually when I was in high school, there's a time when he's Reverend Paul Moyna right now.
Yes.
So he joined the Injiri school for some time, and then the time that he stayed there, he motivated me to sing because during Christian Union he could sing.
Yeah.
And hey, what a voice!
Okay.
And then there were some other guys, and sometimes they could sing some English songs, and I was like, wow, can I do this? So during holidays, I could, write some very long songs. I didn't even know where they were, where they were started, and even where they were coming from. But I could read this small Bible, the Gideons.
Yes.
That small one that was supplied by the missionaries. So I could get a lot of word into me, and then I would want to express myself to God. So I could write like I'm writing songs, or I didn't even know what I was writing. But some there were musical I could sing, but without any like plan that this is the verse, this is the chorus. I never even knew that one day I would maybe come to record some music.
All right.
So in 2010, that is when I decided, the end of 2010 when I was in college, that is when I recorded my first album. Those days we used to do those
albums.
Yes, albums.
Yeah.
They had like 8 songs or so. Yeah.
All right. So what kind of a home did you grow up in? Tell us your setup.
Okay. I always like to appreciate the fact that God will always make somebody to pass through something.
Yes.
So that he or she can motivate others. Yes. Like if we did not get somebody like a Joseph.
Yes.
A Joseph who was hated by his own brothers. Hated by all. To the point of, selling him out to slavery.
Yes.
So they would be happy when he's out of home, and when they would never, see him again. If we never found somebody like a David, somebody who was, innocently, he was an innocent boy and was being hunted down by a king, a whole king Saul.
Yes.
Just because
we would not be reading about that great king.
That is it.
That would kill tens of thousands.
Yes.
So tell us.
A man after God's own heart. So whenever I went through hardship, sometimes it was hard to to understand why am I going through this, because the kind of a home I grew up in. My late dad and my mom is alive, and they had a disagreement, and so they separated. Okay. But one thing I thank God about is that even when they separated, they were like, their differences were their differences. They were not our differences. And every time my dad could tell us, we are 4 of us. I'm a second born. Yes. The first born is a lady. She's called Lydia. Then we have then I'm the second born. Then there is a brother after me. After you. Then we have a last born sister. All right. 2 boys, 2 girls. 2 boys, 2 girls. Awesome. Yes. What a balance. Yes. So they had a disagreement, and so when we were growing up separately, I remember there was a time I did not see my brother for like 2 years. You guys were separated? Yes. You the older ones went with them father? Or what? How? Where is the separation coming in? Okay, I was in high school. No, it is back in 1998. We were all, I think, in primary school. Yes. It was only my sister who was in Form 1, the firstborn. The lastborn was in nursery school or something. Yeah. So she's the small one went with our mom, and so there was sometimes she was with mom, sometimes she was with us at our grandmother's place. So there was that confusion. So you grew up in your grandmother's home? Yes. Most of the time. Yes, most of the time I was with my grandmother, and then there was a time when my brother was in high school, And we stayed, I think, for not 2 years. Was it about, I think about 4 or so years. I remember when I saw him, I was like, is he my brother? Because the last time we met, he was shorter than me. The next time we meet, he's a guy
taller than you.
This tall. And
okay. So you had a very unsettled childhood.
Yeah.
Because you are torn between. Were you made to choose between? So which were you living with, your maternal grandmother or the paternal?
The paternal grandmother. But the good thing I was talking about is that when they separated, their differences were their differences. So they could always tell us that our mom could always tell us that this is your dad. And then our dad would always tell us that you will never find another mother. This is your mother. You love her, you respect her. Leave us with our differences. Okay. So they always encouraged us, that made us to respect them as our parents, as if they were together. And sometimes they could, whenever there was need to meet and deliberate about us as kids, they could meet. And sometimes they could love you.
So they knew co-parenting.
Yes, they knew it, in a very good way.
Okay.
And so that is something positive, and something that I would say that even now, parents nowadays should pick from such a thing. When you have differences, let them be your differences.
Let them not spill over to the kids.
Yes, let them not spill over to the kids.
I'm wondering, at your age, would you understand what would have contributed to them having issues?
I couldn't understand. I couldn't understand because there was no violence involved or anything. It was just a disagreement. And then we were like all over the place.
Did they come brief you and tell you, we have separated?
Yes, they could brief us that if you are going with me, you go with me. If you want to, you were given choices like you stay where you want to stay, but you are at liberty to visit. We could visit the both sides. But the reason as to why I never met my brother is that when I was in school, he was in school. When he was on holiday, because I was ahead of him, those days from what? I think Form 4 and Form 3 were the ones who were going for tuition. So sometimes I was home for only 2 weeks. And then the challenge of finances. You see, I'm with grandmother, and to get bus fare and to get to travel all the way from Muranga to go to Kirinyaga where my brother was. It was a big challenge. So we grew up like that, and then we went to school, and they tried their very best, and they took us to school, and here we are. Okay. Then I was talking about parents and how this decision of that we are no longer together with so and so, with your father or with your mother. That thing really motivated me about our parents, our mom encouraging us to respect our dad, and our dad encouraging us to respect our mom. That really motivated us. And then the foundation, the Christian foundation that we were brought up in. For like myself, I grew up with all manner of people, and people would have expected that being brought up by a grandmother who was not even strong enough to beat me up when I misbehaved.
You would be a spoiled child.
Yes, I would be a spoiled child, and I would be all over the place, maybe drinking and all that. But my friends were, even if I associated with people who were doing all those things, I thank God that He kept me. I think He kept me for such a day like this. And God helped me to be, to hold to my principles, and I think the Gideons that I was reading motivated me, and it helped
you a lot.
It helped me.
So me, I'm really interested in what happens to a child when a home is broken. I'm seeing munaachana na bradhako, you don't see him for long. I'm seeing. What are some of the issues you think you suffered because of that kind of a setup? Okay,
thank you so much. One of the things is that that your parents are alive, and the joy of a child is that you can see your father here and your mother here. You can call daddy and he answers. You can call mom and she answers. And so that was lacking in my life
growing up.
when I was growing up. Yes. So then there was so that thing affected me emotionally. And sometimes I could sit and ask myself a lot of questions. Sometimes I could go into our shamba. It is a big one.
Yes.
So I could go and sometimes sit somewhere, and I would think and try to figure out how did we get here, and why do I have to live with I don't see my brothers, I don't see my sisters, I'm alone here. How did it get here? But I thank God there was always that inspiration that someday will come, and that God is still in control, and all this shall pass.
Right.
And I remember there are friends and there are friends who used to encourage me and to tell me that one day, whatever you are going through, you will motivate somebody, and they will be able to overcome whatever they will be going through. In fact, I remember there is a lady who was telling me that you write a novel, because I used to go to Kibarua to dig and plant
when you were living with Shoshu.
Yeah, when I was living with Shoshu. Sometimes during the holidays I could go and on Saturdays as well. And those days they were paying 50 shillings or 70 shillings per the whole day.
So that you would be expected to take that to your house, so that people will get something to eat.
Yes.
Who paid your school fees?
It's my dad. My dad paid school fees. Those days, yes. Those days it was not so expensive, but to get 2,000 to take to school was an uphill. It was an uphill task. So during those days, we got to the principles that my parents, especially my mother, that whatever she planted in me about God and about trusting in God. When we were, I used to miss, when I was alone, I used to miss or to long for those at our mother's bedside. She could read a Bible verse or two, then we could pray and disperse to our different rooms to go and sleep. So I used to miss those things a lot. And that is why, and then the motivation that I thought could come out of my story is that because I went through that, I would really hate for somebody else, even my own child, to go through such an experience.
Yes.
You have you don't have your parents in the same place. You know they are alive, but you cannot
live with them.
Yes, you cannot live with them. You have siblings, but you cannot live with them.
I want to ask you, know, boy children and the way you guys have been brought up, there's no one allows you to be emotional. I am wondering whether when you used to go to this shamba, would you cry to somebody?
Yes, sometimes I could. Sometimes I could cry myself out. And then other times I could listen to. I remember I used to listen to these early morning shows where there was a lot of praying and a lot of preaching. And I remember I could join people like there is this lady from I can't remember the station. It was a Kikuyu station.
Yes.
There's a lady called Wamaruki.
Yes, I have heard about
Wamaruki. Yes. I could listen to her, and then I could join in prayer and pray for like the next 2 hours in my house and crying to God, telling him that God remember me, God remember our family. And something else I've remembered is that my dad had been an alcoholic for so many years. It even affected his health.
Yes.
And I remember I started praying for him to get born again 10 years before he got born again.
Wow, so I prayed, the Lord answered.
Yes, so one testimony that I bear is that God answers prayers.
Amen.
I started praying for my dad a long time ago for him to stop the drinking and get born again. And I remember he got born again when he was in Kiambu hospital, admitted, and then he came out and he lived
because of the drinking problem.
Yes,
it was that bad.
It was that bad. I think that is why I hated alcohol and I've never gotten any interest in it. God answers prayers. If you can pray for somebody,
even if it takes long, because it took 10 years.
Yes, it took 10 years, but eventually he got born again.
So this is a boy growing up in a broken home amidst a lot of poverty. So did you find consolation now? Is that a contributing factor to the way you used to perform in school?
I can say yes. Yes, it is.
Was it a motivation?
It was not. Sometimes, most of the time it was not a motivation, because you knew you were. Sometimes during visiting days, you could see, parents coming, a father and a mother coming to see their child.
Na wewe
uko hapo. Sometimes even your father did not manage to come. Ama hata akikuja he visit you with a loaf of bread and amebeba na kapipa bagili ya black, just a loaf of bread and nothing else. Alafu anakuja, the money that he gives you is just bus fare when you close school. It's just enough to get you home. So you don't have
I'm just wondering whether it was what by motivation I mean ilikufanya utie bidii shule, ndio unaona hii shule tu ndio itanisaidia sasa.
But in high school sometimes you don't get a lot of how kupata, like in high school upatagi, you don't have that brain of hapo mbele sana. So sometimes I could try like, hey, let me work hard so that I can get my family out of poverty, out of these problems, and so that I'll also live a better life than even my parents. But some other times now it was, you see, we have that emotional thing. You haven't seen your brother in 3, I don't know how many years. You haven't seen your sister. You don't know where you even when you go home, you know that you're not going to meet your mother there, or and they are alive. So sometimes it used to to trouble me emotionally. But I could always find consolation in God, in Christian union, in reading the word. So I think being in all those things, they directed me to God. They helped me to focus on God, to look to Him.
Yes,
because I could see that
He was your only hope.
He was my only hope. There was no one else who could help me. And so whenever I went to whenever I prayed during those morning hours, I used to feel so nice, and I used to know that now God is with me, and there is that comfort that comes when you speak to God, and you get some confidence to go on. And that is when I think even in some of the songs were born out of such scenarios.
You're gonna talk about some of your songs,
yes,
but maybe Raul, going forward, you finish high school in Jiri. What grade did you get? Engineer. You know what? Maybe if you're not comfortable talking about that, did you go to a course after high school?
Yes, I went, and I went to a course after high school, and of course after hustling around, and that is when how I got into construction.
Yes,
and that is where I get my daily bread, and as well as doing now again music.
Yeah.
There are things that God allows. I think for me personally, I do believe that, and there are things zenye huwa na I believe that God allows me to go through. For instance, there is a big testimony that niliambia Mungu that I will always share whenever I get a platform. And then God, I didn't forget. When I came out of high school, you see, my parents were already not together, and of course both of them were struggling to make ends meet and to bring us up. You see, they were already exhausted. We are through high school. My brother was in high school actually, and all that. When I went through college, and do you know, I never spent a shilling from my dad. My dad presented me to an office of a friend with my papers. It is like he handed me over to that friend, and that friend took me through college he could take, whenever I went to he took the feast transcript and all the details. So whenever there was we closed college, I could go to his office. He would ask, when are you opening on this date? Then he could tell the secretary that remember to Maina will be coming on this date, some like days before we open college. He could write me a check.
Yeah. Wow.
He could give me pocket money.
Wow.
And I went through college without spending my parents' money. He could organize for, the bursaries.
Yeah.
And I went through college like kama mtoto wa sonko. So my dad had not saved a lot of money to take me to college, but I went to college. So that is why I encourage people that if you trust God and you put your hope in Him, don't mind what you have or what you don't have. God will take you through.
So you are sure, even in this, you might not know, probably you are in a place you don't know kutaenda aje, but you know the Lord is with you.
Lord is with you. There's something that motivates me about the story of Joseph.
Yes.
And it is about a God being with somebody. And if you read in the book of the book of Genesis, you will hear that God was with Joseph when he was sold into slavery.
Yes.
He was with him when he went into prison.
Yes.
So God did not keep him from going into prison. He had the power, he could keep him from going into prison. But what God did, he never left Joseph to go into prison alone.
Okay.
He went with him into prison. He stayed with him. He did not shorten his stay in prison. He stayed with him in that prison and gave him favor in that prison. So that motivates me about God staying with you in the problem. He stays with you in that challenge.
Okay.
Sometimes it is a challenging marriage, a relationship, a challenging career, a challenging situation, a place where you are you are in short of finances and all that. Sometimes he doesn't catapult you from there all at once. He stays with you there and he walks you through that, and then like he did to Joseph, he elevates him into the palace. So I think that also motivated me in singing when I knew that God was with me, and I wanted.
When did you begin your music ministry?
That is in 2010.
Okay.
Yeah, that is when I recorded my first album.
Yes.
And then it's like I slumbered a little bit, then nikaamuka baadaye, and I'm back like I never left.
So where do we find you on your social media handles? On
my social media, utanipata Facebook, naitwa Samuel Maina Kemita. Kemita ni KEMITTAH. Yes. So ni Kemi, then the last ones unaandika TTAH, not the kawaida one. Kemita. Then on YouTube, my page inaitwa Kemita Sam. Yeah. And pia kwa Twitter naitwa tu hivyo Kemita Sam. Yeah. Instagram and all those other places, social media places na pia ninakuaga na hizo akina Skiza.
Yeah.
All those ones.
It's okay. People can reach you on your number, then probably give them your Skiza, so you can also tell them your number.
Yes. So my number is 0724 843 178. Yes, and you can reach me for events. Hata naweza kuwa MC mzuri sana, and also for music, and then pia kama uko na a project, construction, anything. I'm a professional in that, civil engineer by profession.
Okay. Thank you so much, Kemita Sam, for coming over to Chronicles La Familia. Your story is a story of courage and boldness, where a boy child is able to express himself na nasema the issues of their lives. You don't find that often. They love to, most men would want to keep it into their hearts because of the pressure from the society to look like you have it all together. So thank you for sharing your story. It will encourage somebody else that is going through what you went through, and they will be able to know if Sam Kemita went through that and is still holding on to hope and is still hoping in God and is even continuing to do their things, then we are also able to make it through. So asante sana. It was good to have you on set. God bless you.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much.
So that marks the end of our episode tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. Do not forget to like, subscribe, and share. For so much of these stories, continue tuning in into Magibi Kangai. God bless you.